Welcome. Good afternoon. Afternoon, Rich. Welcome to the loft again. Things have changed. I have a bench. I also am using terrible laptop still, so apologies if there's a bit of lagginess to the stream. I haven't moved my machine up here to do anything yet. But it's difficult. I haven't been well, my partner's not well, and things have been busy. I might need to do some tweaking because I think it's struggling a bit with the encoding. We'll see. We'll see how. I'm just going to try see if I can settle this thing down. Ooh, it's not liking it. It's really not liking it today. My poor little laptop. I'm watching OBS this end scream at me that the CPU's overloaded, which doesn't surprise me, but just going to see if I can improve it somewhat, but we'll see. I don't know if it's OBS or hey ho, we'll see. Let's I've got an idea. Let me turn off the preview for now. That should bring it down a little bit. But welcome. Yeah, welcome back to the loft. It's taking shape. My old man's been busy up here while I've been a bit unwell, and I now have benches. I have migrated stuff up here. I have acquired more stuff for testing with, yeah, I've just been hoisting stuff up and down with the good old winch, and now all I have to do is finish assembling stuff. So that was sort of what this is just another carry on. I've got something that will make it easier to demonstrate. I've got a little desk rack, some stuff to go in the desk rack, and interestingly, I've acquired yet more Sophos firewalls. I fixed a Sophos firewall that was broken, which is a newer one, which should be good for testing with. And yeah, that seems to be the current trend at the moment in terms of stuff that I can show to a certain degree. Just trying to work out if this is behaving properly. Can't quite tell because my machine is not particularly happy. What I'm going to try and do is, let's stop you jumping around there, and then let's close that this end. Reduce the load down. But yes, hope everyone is doing all right, having a good weekend so far. Where did I get to? I got to here. But yes, I suppose what I can try and do actually is take people on a quick tour, because I'm going to come up and grab you up here. Come with me, and you'll see. Is the loft. So We now bench. This is what I'm streaming with at the moment. There you go. There's you lot. Yeah, it's quite everywhere, I think, for a change. Here's the other side of the loft. This is all of stuff for assembling and testing, and stock, and some frames and racking that I'm putting up in place. Oh look, another server. We have another server. The servers are migrated here. The rack is tucked down and now with room for another one to the side. Storage space over that side, which I'll probably put another rack in so I can start building stuff. A bit limited on my leash on this one. We've got, you see, a USG tucked there. There's a Sophos firewall. There's a Dell server just come in there. There's some fun things in a box there for doing 10 gig testing on Sophos firewalls, which should be. Obviously, we've got a rack, which I'm going to get started in a bit here. So yes, another rack and some old switches. Containing another Sophos thing. There's a pile of Sophos things. I have too many Sophoses. Yes, so the loft gone from being empty to being rather full, and as such, just get you all guys settled back down here, and we'll go in there. Stop putting magnets on solid state discs. It's not good. You can sit there for the minute. There we go. And we're all good. Yes. Just been watching Willie and his Willie Howe and his doing a quick what is a router, what is a firewall definition, and that's a conundrum, but what is a router, what is a firewall, when does it become a router, when does a router become a firewall, and when does it become a threat management gateway, a security appliance? The lines are so blurred now on that. Have they just sealed this? I think they have. See what we can do. This, there we go. We'll go with StarTech as per normal, mainly because they do make good little racks. So this in its box, StarTech 8U. Hold on, consult the box. Doesn't really. Desktop rack. Apologies if you can hear the birds. Maybe you might like it. If you listen carefully enough, you might even be able to hear the sea. But I thought might as well actually get a little desk rack up here to go with the main racks, because it's a lot easier to show you things up the top, so up here, than it is down under there. And very kindly they supplied me with some cage nuts. Awesome. In the bin they go. We don't need cage nuts where we're going. Let's just help this machine. Seagulls are noisy today. Hopefully. It's working if anyone's there. Ah, the joys. Right, stop that for a second. Yeah, sorry, Rich. My trusty old Alienware is unfortunately showing its age. Monitor plugged into it, and it really is struggling. So I am trying to get my bill, and then when it reboots. So, but anyway, how long it lasts. Poor thing's getting a bit long in the tooth. But yes, I was saying before I realised that that it had crashed, that I did say it's a bit of a quiet weekend, but yeah, much asking if there's much going on with people, but yeah, I'm on the loft build. I'll move around again in a minute. I'm just assembling things. This poor thing here is an i7-2830HQ, something like that. And it's when I bought this, I won't say brand new. I bought this refurbed from Dell, and it was about £3.5 back in about 2010, and it's still just about hanging on. It's done well. I've got to say, it's for anyone that, I mean, I know there are people that moan and bitch about it. Yeah, well, this is the problem. I mean, I obviously ending up with a lot of hand-me-downs, as it were. So we obviously, as we retire kit down, we end up with it. So I've got like 4th gen Core i7 machines floating around. I've got obviously a vast collection of random old sort of machines, but they have a useful life, and I'm kind of dragging this thing way past its useful life. It needs to be stripped down. It needs fresh compound put on everything. I've just realised I've done that wrong. Needed to do... Right, I've done the side. Do that. precision placement here. I mean, this is the sort of thing, this level, just doing this on a stream, as a streaming machine, you could get away with just a basic Core i3 now doing this. That's the thing. You could get a Core i3, 10th gen, and it will munch this up because it's just built better to do it. God, streaming was, I think, quite a new. It was still a very, very new thing when this laptop came out. And I've upgraded it, obviously. I mean, I've got RAM in it. I've upped the RAM to 16 gig, which is more than enough. But the one thing you can't do is put a better CPU in it. You put a better GPU in it, I did that. But even then, you're still limited. Which is a shame. Ah, morning, Cody. Welcome to the loft. Look, I've got a workbench now. the loft. Maybe. If it is, it's definitely dead. But there may be a hole there. The beam on that side behind me is actually round. I mean, this house is, I want to say, almost as old as America. It's probably not. I don't know how old this house is. This house is probably late Victorian, so maybe a bit somewhere around there. I know this is what I've been waiting for, is a workbench to be able to do stuff. What was I going to quiz you on, Cody? There was something. I know there was something. I wanted to ask you a question, and I can't remember what it was. But hey, how it'll come to me. But yes, it's solid. Let's put it that way. The amount of weight that I'm bringing up here, it better be solid, because I've got more than enough weight in servers and firewalls and stuff to put the beams under some load. What was it? Oh, I know what it was. I know what it was, if you're still there. Bizarrely, over here, it's quite rare I find in the UK. It seems to be a lot more common over I won't say stateside, over the pond, for patching to use. Generally, we use patch panels over here so that they are obviously fixed. Whereas it seems to be a lot more popular over there to have everything in, what are they called? Got a box of them here. Oh, let me open this box a second. Keystones, that's the one. I couldn't think of the word because we don't use them, so I've bought some. It's one of those strange things that in all the jobs that we do, and our cabling guys just end up with patch panels, just end up with lots and lots of patch panels. It was more the crimping tools, because they, again, over here, because they're not used as much, like all our cable suppliers, all we get is punch down chroming tools. There's no one that actually does a complete set. And I can't remember the company it was that you recommended, because again, it's difficult over here to try and find any. My Wi-Fi dropped. Let me just check, because yeah, so I went out and got, courtesy of Amazon at the moment, some Keystone blanks. And where's my other box gone? It's here. I put it down somewhere and walked away from it. What have I done with it? Oh, it's there. Right in front of me. Obviously, as this gets built and I spend a bit more time and money, I will get some cameras up above here, is the plan, so that we're looking down. So yeah, the only ones I could find at the moment over here are Cable Matters ones. I don't know if you've had any experience with them. So I thought, why not? Because the idea here is to have this set up so that I can throw stuff up in the rack. Didn't need them. Ta-da! Desk rack. This is the StarTech one. Oh, come on, you silly thing. Get out of there. Let's just try again. Ba-ba-ba. Warning, plastic bags can be dangerous. That's nice. And we get installation instructions for Keystone. Woo! So, yeah, as someone who has only ever punched down onto patch panels, which are hard work when you're doing lots and lots of them, as I'm sure will be attested by many. Yeah, this is a new experience for me. I mean, obviously, Cat 6 couplers are Cat 6 couplers generally, but let's have a look. Well, this is, yeah, I'm probably going to end up fibering the house up, or basically the way my house is, on that side of the house downstairs is my main office. That's where I do my working. That's where I normally sit, and you'll see me sat at my desk saying something sarcastic on a YouTube short. The other side is where my internet connection comes in. So I've either got to get my internet connection up into my loft, which if you're in the UK, you know that we have basically the bulk of the UK has one internet company that runs the infrastructure, which is OpenReach. Some of the UK has Virgin Media. Some of it, there are now some more private fibre installers, but for the bulk of us, it's OpenReach, and they will install it to one location, and that's it. And they like to make it as short as possible. So I have to go and run a fibre cable from up here to down there, connect it, move my ONT up here, which means I can get things working, but we shall see. I am assuming that everyone in here already follows Cody anyway, but if you don't, go click him, go follow him. Go on, go and subscribe to Cody as well. He sends people my way, I send people his. Stay. Yeah, well, mine's 1,115 because we can supply it ourselves, so I'm lucky. So that's a TrendNet panel. So they're all inserted. Get rid of that out the way. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on what we can supply because obviously as soon as it becomes available at faster speeds, I'll be upgrading my speed to the fastest. The idea being up here is I'm going to start assembling like that's an R620 with some 10 gig ports in it, so I can actually do a bit more 10 gig testing and build some rigs for testing things like that firewall. Obviously there's no need to test that. That's a USG Pro, USG 4. We know the throughput of that is never going to be fantastic because it's a USG, and until Ubiquiti get off their arse and do something useful rather than giving us electric car chargers. I mean, I don't know how you managed to make a video on that, Cody. I mean, that was like that's like Ubiquiti going, hey, look, we need to put a video out. I mean, that's marketing, surely. That must have been a marketing thing saying, quick, put something out, distract people. Right. Welcome, welcome. You Jasper. Welcome. Hello to Denmark. How are things in Denmark? Greetings from the best part of the UK, which is the southwest. We're the nice bit. We get the sea. We get the sea that's actually blue. That's the difference. That's something I would actually really, if Ubiquiti ever started to send out DSLRs, the AI DSLR, to people to test with a good use. Literally, I'm obviously up in my roof, so that there is a chimney breast. So up in there is up on my roof is a chimney. I'd love to have one attached to that because from there I could point it that direction to see. Oh. My wireless is being wonderful today. As soon as I've finished, actually, I've got to build this. I'm waiting to get a rack back off site. Welcome Norway. Norway, Denmark. I know Cody's in Canada. Rich is obviously in the UK because he's on OpenReach. So sorry, I'm just looking at, because this is one of those things that isn't that common here yet. It will be. Is to have keystone jacks on everything. Again, I'm looking at it because if it makes more sense for us, while we have a guy who generally cables for us because our time is better spent not pulling cables, sometimes we have to. And it's just nice to see what is going on with the way things are. So okay, so what is going on here? I can't tell if it's my machine or if it's my internet playing up today. As I say, this is the first time I've actually played with keystones, other than obviously, I mean, we use modules anyway, which is basically all that is. But it's just interesting to see what the difference is. So we've got A, B, and then A, B on that side. So that side stays the same, just flick over them. Yeah, it probably, I don't know actually. It might be the fact that of all things, my house is now Wi-Fi 6, this laptop is Wi-Fi 5, and I've actually temporarily, while I'm waiting, I haven't been able to go and collect stock, as it were, from my business partner who is up country. And he's got a 6 light for me to stick up here. So I'm running off of a Nano HD, and for some reason it seems to be unhappy with me. I think I've unplugged it, plugged it in. I was using it to do the comparison downstairs with the Cisco Small Business system, which yeah, I don't know if anyone else has had the interesting pleasure of playing with that yet. I'm going to revisit it. I'm waiting for their small routers to appear in our supplier, because I can pick up, they do a little baby router, but it's only 100 meg, and I kind of laughed at that. I mean, that's Cisco being Cisco all over. Yes, you can buy a router and it's in the right range, but it's a 10100 router. Now, while that may be fine to a certain degree for some of the internet connections here, because the UK is not particularly great with its internet, but as soon as we get some decent stock availability of their small 8-port switches and the smaller, I think they're V160 routers, then I'm going to acquire that and build a full Unifi comparison setup. So the same as if I'm using a USG, a 6 light, and that sort of, and just a normal Ubiquiti switch, and do a side by side, because yeah, I found it ridiculous how much they were. This is our small business solution to compete against Unifi, and it's they've Ciscoized it, and that was the problem. Yeah, well, yeah, ADSL, VDSL. Yeah, I mean, even then, if you get an 80/20 line, you're still going to be up at the limits of a router. So, why would you produce something now? Because it's not an old piece of kit. It's actually quite a new setup. Why would you be making something now aimed at business that does 10100, other than to either get rid of some? The only reason I can think they've done it is to get rid of some old chips, just to get rid of them. It's like, oh, we've got these old bits of Linksys stuff. What can we do? I know. Let's make some software for them that they work. Yeah, there we go. People will buy that. It says Cisco on it. The old adage of no one ever got fired for buying Cisco, I don't think stands anymore. I think if someone, having worked in enough IT departments with enough levels, if I was employing someone now, and their basic thing was they went out and bought Cisco and didn't even consider anything else, the first thing I'd do is fire them. Yeah, we are. I mean, obviously, we supply Ubiquiti generally, as that's our go-to. We use Meraki if needed. I mean, if it's we work with Meraki, work with Ruckus. I'm yet to try. I want to try Aruba. I need to play with the Aruba on system, and obviously TP-Link. But generally, we're a Ubiquiti installer. I mean, we're for what we do. We don't do residential, so we don't do home users unless they are a like director of a business that we look after. So we see that as an extension of the business. So we set their home network up to the same standards, which you won't get for a general Jane down the road who just wants an internet router and an internet connection. We can't compete. There's no point. But at the same time, we also standardise in what we do. And yeah, I mean, our standard internet rollout now is something that will be probably a UDR now. So a Dream router going in for most places, unless they really want a gigabit connection. If they're using a 500 meg internet connection, UDR is perfect for that. Plug it in. They want a doorbell, no problem. Couple of cameras, powered off the back. Perfect solution for that. Anything bigger than that, and then we look along the Dream machine size thing. Obviously, the Dream Wall, when that comes out, is currently what I'm connected on at the moment. That's going to be, in my opinion, a game changer for a lot of places, especially the Pro, if that comes out as good as it looks. But yeah, I mean, it's 10100 can be used for smart homes, 1000 for service. Yeah, this is the balancing act. 10100 is fine for most things. Gigabit is useful, especially if you've got to stream anything reasonable. So gigabit is fine for 99.9% of homes. I mean, that's the thing. 10 gig, yes, if you are editing in 4K. I mean, I only film in 1080 because I can't afford smart cameras yet. But the only reason I'm going up to 10 gig is because the businesses we're supporting are starting to go up to 10 gig, so I need to test throughputs. But something that you probably find as well, Rich, like if I'm out on site and I go to all the little, I go to the local little IT shops, and they have 10100 tender or D-Link switches, and I'm like, no, haven't you got anything proper? And they're like, well, this is a proper switch. It's like, no, it's not. And the problem is unfortunately they will sell them because people don't know better. They just want a switch, and then you go and it's like, oh, I've got problems. I can't. My internet's slow, and they've got a gigabit internet, and it's running over 100 meg switch. It's like, that's your problem. Take it back. It's a fun conundrum. Been around for many years. Yeah, it's one of those interesting things. I think I saw something the other day. Someone said the best way to future-proof a house is to fibre it, and I disagree. I disagreed with that. Cat 6ing a house will future-proof it. Cat 5eing a house will reasonably still future-proof it. You don't actually need Cat 6 in a general modern house because there's nothing really that's going to push 10 gig for at least the next 10 years. Even if you're streaming in 4K, you can do it. You can do streaming of a 4K service with the right system over Cat 6 or Cat 5e. But there will always be the issue of the requirements effectively being led by marketing. It's that sort of thing. I mean, the issues are always going to be, what do you do? It's like, obviously, there's a USG Pro 4 that will do without any filtering. Obviously, you can push a gig out of these. You can do a gig throughput, and yes, while being okay, you could get away with it. But in the modern world, what would you want? A gig unfiltered, unsecured, or would you like some degree of security on that? I mean, I can't justify holding a UXG Pro in for us. We don't have the demand for them, because if we're up above that level, then we switch over to using Sophos kit. I mean, that's the thing. If I need something that can throughput a crazy rate and do full packet inspection, I mean, this is a XG310. This is quite a late XG310. I think this is from 20. When was this one made? 2020, because it went wrong in 2020. I won't tell you why, but there we go. It went wrong in 2020. But for a business, if you need gigabit internet inspection levels, this is what you're going to need. And the other thing as well, it's a chap I had to step in for to help the other day. Literally up the road, as it were, they run a Halloween ball at a small adventure park. But he was telling me basically he had a client actually in the town that I'm in, and he said, be aware. He said, if they come to you, this is what they expect, and what they're expecting is to have they want to be able to speed test anywhere in their house on their mobile phone and get gigabit internet. And it's like, okay, so what were they complaining of? He said, well, they test 1 minute and it would work, and then they test the next minute and it wouldn't, and then they test again in a different place and it would work. And it's like, right. And he said, yeah, everything he did was never good enough. And then when you tried to do something, they would change settings behind the scenes, or they'd go and tweak channels because they'd read that that's what needed to be done. Whereas we find that sort of thing will, I don't know where I'm going with this, I've veered off on a tangent, sorry. What I was going to say is, yeah, expecting to get gigabit internet wirelessly all over a house still is it's an impossibility still, just due to the nature of wireless, but they don't understand that. Even getting, I mean, I suppose, yeah, I mean, everything did stop in 2020. We didn't. I mean, that was one of the crazy parts. The world stopped. I was still running up and down, doing hundreds of miles a week, moving clients out into their home offices. I mean, that was my experience of COVID, was that at the time I was contracted in to, as well as looking after my own companies that I look after for IT, I was contracted into a cosmetics company, and they had to decant their entire office workforce to home. And yeah, oof, the big C. yeah, the I mean, I was running up and down from the bottom of Cornwall up into Wiltshire, which yeah, I was gonna say, oh, and are you through it? I hope you are. I lost my uncle recently to leukemia, so um, yeah, it's one of those things that yeah, I mean, running around with then everything stopped apart from IT, and people do, as I'm sure people are aware, um, that the world does not function without it now. But the um, we were still having to push through. Well, that's it's not. I, I'm hoping you are. Honestly, I'm hoping you are, because it's been it's one of those things that yeah, rest is is an essential part, and pushing yourself back into work, yeah, isn't ideal if you're going to be going back in and under. I mean, it's yeah. My partner at the moment is in um, hospital down here, and she went in um, with a gallbladder problem. Well, basically an inflamed gallbladder, and yeah, we're now on week 4 since she went in. Normally it's in, pop it out and out. Yeah, so stressful, but yeah, it's I hope that you get the all clear, and it's a win, because that's not what you want to hear, so to speak. It's one of those things now that at least they can deal with it. I know. Yeah, this is the problem. How else do you afford all these things? I've gone again. There we go. If they're cheap enough, it's me bidding against people for them. I have just picked up, and it literally arrived today. This is an XG310 Rev 2. I have got sat downstairs in a big box, too big to fit through the hatch. I can't bring it up on the hoist because it's too big. I've got an XG410 Rev 2, so the bigger version of this, to play with, that I got for the same price as what most people are trying to get for like the baby versions of these. So that's some of the problem. I need to stop doing it, because unfortunately I sit there and tell people, go and buy this, go and buy these. You should be able to pick up a Rev 1 and XG310 for like £100, like less than £100 or $100. And it's me that's bidding them up against them because I want them for testing as well. So I keep finding the cheap ones. But yeah, this I've yeah. Well, hold on. Come with me for a walk, everybody, quickly. Sorry, magnets. So that is my Sophos firewall pile part 1. So that's a pair of hold on, hold on, sorry. Right. I've got my HA pair that will be recommissioned back for work. So that's a pair of SG. That's an SG330 and an SG310. There's an SG330 and an SG310 there. There is an XG135, an XG105 and an XG106 sat there. Somewhere there is an SG230 over in that collection. No, sorry. there is one of those is an SG200. That in there is an XG310. So I've got two XG310s, two XG330s, or two SGs, sorry. I've got an XG310, I've got an XG410 to come upstairs. In this box here that arrived at the same time is a Sophos Red that I want to attempt something with, but it's worth demonstrating the reds as well to people. As well as servers, more servers, more servers, and there's a pile of servers to come up from upstairs. So let's put you guys back there, bend you back around there we go. Yeah, it is a problem. Ubiquiti need to pull their finger out their arse and sort out a decent standalone router to replace those. On the small scale, what we need is a replacement for the USG3, which is, in theory, it shouldn't take them much because they've launched the US Pro router, which is a little baby router. So why are they not producing a small SMB router that's not 90% of businesses do not need that thing. He's here, he's made it. Hello, Jason. You're gonna love me. I've wait for it to disconnect, reconnect. There we go. For most places, you don't need any more. For most businesses, they're dealing with 100 meg or so broadband, but you want that capacity because we're at that situation now where we're having to support our customers, and we use a mixture of these two generally. But I can't get these new, and I can't get USG3s new, and I'm not going to sell a client 500 quid's worth of UXG Pro because they won't wear it. That's not how it works. If I need something that's capable of that level, then yes. But then that's why we'd sell them something like this, because if they're needing that level of throughput to be filtered and managed, I trust this more than I trust Ubiquiti. It's frustrating. I know people do get very wound up that they are throwing out. I mean, we've had the AI DSLR, which nobody asked for. We've had the 6 Plus LRs appear in EA, which I know why they've done it. They've done it because it's basically a way for them to do a hardware refresh on the 6 and the 6LR. I wouldn't trust stealing route. No. There's nothing actually really wrong with the Ubiquiti, the Unifi routers. The USGs are the USGs are a good, solid, basic system managed router. Oh, I so wish I had some of the old D-Link shite that I used to have to install. Oh. But yeah, if they literally took the they root and they're a firewall and they do a degree of packet inspection. I mean, the fact that I think that I'm trying to think what I've got here. I mean, you could always put that in. I mean, these are great little things. I'm having. It doesn't help. I've had some I won't say I've had COVID because I don't think it is. I've had something I've been up and down all over the place. I can easily. I mean, we use them in hotels. We use them in campsites. We use them in small businesses. They are good for a use case. They fit certain SMBs, very certain ones, but generally, yeah. I mean, no, I wouldn't. I mean, I remember putting D-links in, and I think I said to you, they used to be able to right-click on the page, and you could find the password to the router because it was hard-coded into the actual web page. Yeah, that was D-link. The last D-link stuff I actually used was they produced a little line of APs that you could manage multiple APs from one of them. It didn't work well, and that was it. I gave up after that. They became. I ranked them under TP-Link, and I ranked TP-Link under Unifi. So, yeah, I mean that's the level. That's the level of D-Link. I put them alongside Tender. Yeah. I haven't played with Ngenius yet. I know you're an Ngenius fan. I need to acquire some Ngenius kit. Because basically my plan in here is to have a board up on that wall with test rigs, so that I can literally fire up APs, because I've got a wall now that I can screw stuff to, or will be able to. So the idea will be to start doing stuff where it's easy to swap and chop and change, and if anyone has any questions, I can build and test and demonstrate. That's the whole idea. Just to do the what ifs, what happens if you unplug that? It's why I've got so many bloody Sophoses to demonstrate HA and things like that. Say this might as well get it out of the box actually, because I want to have a look at something. This is, come here. This is the other part of the parcel that arrived with my new or newer, bigger Sophos XG. This was my acquisition. Oh, you poor soul! You're having to deal with Sonic fails. And you mock me for using Unifi. Oh no, they put fucking Watsits in it. Fuck's sake. Excuse my language, but the last Sonic wall I ripped out of a client was so long ago that it actually it got swapped out for a Sophos actually back in the SG days. But they had a firmware update that they released that would randomly turn off Ethernet 1 or Ethernet 0. So that didn't go down well. Da, da, da. Keep the Watsits because I know someone that would actually appreciate them. The Sonic Wall, they have the same problem, I think, that a lot of the firewall providers are having. Oh look! Cool, we've been going long enough. We got the bots in. Woohoo! I'm going to have to actually do some moderation. At some point I will get some mods in here. La la la. Yeah, I've made it. No, it's not easier to stream in Twitch, actually. Twitch is a pain in the ass, purely and simply because you get no exposure in Twitch. That's the big difference. I stream probably, I won't say every night. I'm normally doing something periodically. But with Twitch, I mean, I might get maybe one viewer, and I could stream for 6 hours. It's that sort of thing. Yet with you get a lot more exposure. It's almost it's one of those things. They are trying very hard to actually make YouTube a lot nicer to stream on for gaming. I mean, I'd be very, very tempted to switch for gaming over to YouTube, but then I try and keep the YouTube side more for IT related content and Twitch for gaming related shenanigans. It's that sort of thing. Sorry, I'm just tit-arsing around while because I need to get into where are we? Into there. There it is. I mean, you say Twitch is there we go. The biggest problem that Twitch has versus YouTube is that if you're not big, if you don't get the lucky break and you don't make it big, you get nothing. That's the problem with it. You want me to open the box? It's like, open the box, open the box. It's nothing particularly special. It's something I want to test with. This is a Sophos Red. This is one of their remote Ethernet devices. But what I'm pondering, which I'm going to do now actually while everyone's here, I want to know what's inside it. Because the amount of these I've installed, and I've never popped the lid on one. So let's pop the lid on one. Because if these are supplied by the same manufacturer as these, in theory, this should be reflashable. Well, that's what I'm thinking. If it's just a basic little box with something like an MSATA in it, or even if it's not, we'll have some fun with it, because these are actually really, really useful little boxes sometimes. Well, that's what I'm pondering. So what have we got? So CPU is obviously there, and I reckon that's an atom under there. There's something tucked away under there. We've got, I would say, that looks like flash memory there. So in theory, So we've got onboard memory there, not masses of it, but I'd just be interested as to what we can make this do. Yeah, it's all soldered in, but it was just in. I'm just intrigued. I'm going to need to get a bloody console cable, but that's not the end of the world. I can get hold of console cables. But it'd be interesting to know wow, all the power supplies. If that can be used as a router, because if it can, what can it do? How much throughput can we put through it? Because this is the bigger one. This is a Red 50. And if not, what else can we do to it? Because obviously there's a spot there where you can obviously get a wireless version of this, and there's a spot there which looks like, I would say, maybe MSATA. Just trying to see if there's anything. So I mean, obviously these are all, I say custom, they're customized is the word. You're going to like what I got on the box over here more. All the boxes are coming out today. So that being a Rev 2 XG310 has 2 SFP ports. Sorry, 2 SFP plus ports as well as 2 SFP ports. Those are SFP plus ports, but this isn't a Sophos flex port. They're a lot cheaper. So those are going in the other ones to see to see if they work, which I believe they will, because if they will, it's a very, very cheap way to upgrade a Rev 1 to be 10 gig, and we'll see what we did. Reconnected. I need to work out what's going on. Well, no, actually what I need to do is get up here cabled out, which is my next move. So what I might try and do next weekend, depending on how well the other half is, if she's back, if she's not, I'm going to get up here tidied up and organised a bit better, which I'm doing at the moment, and going to try and get well, I can go, I'll probably do some network cabling with you guys while I'm nattering away, because as I said earlier with Codian, we don't use keystone jacks a lot over here yet, and it's just one of those things that if it makes things useful and easier, why not? I keep seeing them. The frustrating thing at the moment is people are asking way too much money for them. Obviously, I mean, I have yeah, unfortunately I haven't had time, and I have one network cable coming all the way up here, which is over the wrong side of the loft, so I've got to bring it over into a cable. The yeah, it's like this. This I paid about 25 quid for. I was gutted actually. They had a pile of 3 of them that went for like 40, 50 quid. But like the Rev 2s I know go in this country sensibly. A Rev 2 with no license is worth £200 to £300 in my opinion. And I was lucky to get a Rev 2 400 series for £250. That's the one I got to bring up. The Rev 1s now are so common over here, they're worth, I mean, I've seen them, I've been bidding on them because I wanted another one for a pair. They're worth £70, less than that nowadays. There's the problem is people see Sophos Firewall and they think, well, it's got to be worth £500 up. And it's no. Probably makes sense for me to do a video on what to look out for, because this one, this one at the moment is worthless apart from the hardware, and even that is debatable to a certain degree, because if you want to use it in a business, you need a license. There's no license on that, so you can't use it. For home lab stuff, it's great, so you don't need the license. So why would you pay the premium for a licensed one? Why not have one like these where they're RMA returns that need fixing but can be made to work, versus and that's the problem. People are selling them on eBay. If you want it for a business, fine, you pay a premium if it's got a license. But when you find the ones that people are asking almost the same price that I can buy a brand new one from Sophos from, and obviously, I mean, we're Sophos partners, we get them at our discounted rate because obviously we have to make money on them. There's no point selling a product if you don't make money on it. But when you're seeing products being sold above the rate you can buy them for brand new, and you say, does it have the license? And they go, well, it's got a license on it. It's like, yeah, but do you have the license to transfer? Oh, no, we haven't got that. Well, your product, you've got a piece of worthless hardware. Oh, but it's worth, they go for this money. So no, they don't. The license is what's worth the value on these. This is just a modified generic piece of hardware by Caswell. There's that Sophos hardware is 98% identical to a Checkpoint firewall. There's no difference really. Same basic chassis. It's where those have come from. So it's that sort of thing. It's working out what they're using, what hardware they're using, what bits of software work that you can get at a good price that help you learn. Like, these are great for learning firewall stuff with, because they're a firewall. You're not having to jump around with grabbing an old desktop and then you find out that your network cards are incompatible or they're a bit slow. This is I think these are rated at, well, in theory they're rated at over 20 gig, because obviously the idea is the throughput on the NICs should be more than 20 gig. But the inspection throughput is high on them. And that's, again, where this and that are going to be put to test. But that's often the thing that gets forgotten about with anything. Most people actually don't need most people don't need a firewall that can do 10 gig throughput. Most people don't need a firewall that can do 500 meg throughput. But unfortunately, they see pretty videos online where people are like, oh yes, you can build your own router and it can do all of this wonderful stuff. Yeah. Use pfSense on everything. No, thank you. No. just no. Why would I use pfSense when I can use a product that's actually well-rounded and finished? Even OpenSense is better than that, in my opinion. In my opinion. Been there before. But there we go. Let's just quickly. I was just going to show you. I don't know if you caught this, but just because you're late to the party, Jason. But anyway, goddamn magnets. Anyway, So yes, going forward, the plan in here. So we have workbench that will be emptied. Obviously, room underneath for a couple of more little 12U rolly racks. We've got shelving going up. Well, not going up, shelving being moved up here to stack stuff up on. Yeah, that's all the stuff that's got to be sorted, arranged. Hole in the floor for bringing stuff up through. And leftover tools. There's a Henry. There's the winch. Yeah, I'll be getting the rest of the stuff up here. I've got to get this rack reassembled and back online because we need to do some testing with some Unifi access stuff. What I need to work out is to get some cameras of a good enough angle, probably sat up above here, looking down. Obviously a bit more lighting as well. A bit less glary. It's a bit too... Unfortunately, there's very limited places to put lights in here at the moment, so they're a bit full on. But... that is the plan. The loft is taking shape. And, yeah, anyone with any requests where you're like, oh, can you show us this, demonstrate that? That's the idea, is to have the area here and here to be able to actually, when people have genuine questions or genuine queries, we're trying to get our Ubiquity stock up. So hopefully I will have a lot more of the product range available to be able to demonstrate things, or if someone's saying what's going on, it's that sort of thing, being able to demonstrate that. I mean, what's over here I've got to play with. I've never actually played with the Unifi access system before, so I've got some Unifi access stuff because we need to test to see how certain aspects work. Both. We buy direct from Ubiquity if it's cheaper, or we'll buy from like the UK suppliers are NetXL, Foregone, Broadband Buyer. If we need to bulk order and they can come in cheaper than Ubiquity direct, then when they've got stock, then we do try and buy from UK disties. But a lot of the time, the UK disties are significantly more expensive. And we're back. Yeah, it's only when they get the pricing right. I know. I don't know what's causing it at the moment. It might be this laptop, unfortunately. My next move up here will be cabling out. Unfortunately, I'll have to show you because it's over there. My AP for up here is in that corner at the moment because that green cable there is my link up into my loft. So the AP is wedged over there. I know it's not great for an IT guy. It's not ideal, but it's all I've got at the moment. While I've been moving stuff around, I promise to do better next time. I will get I've got all my switching to come up here yet, and I need to get the switches up here. So as soon as the switching is up here, I'll have a hard cable, and then I'll have my actual other machine up here that I can stream from. That's not my poor old laptop, because it really is literally, if I plug a monitor into this thing now, it crashes. It's that bad. Yeah, I can't do much about it tonight. Well, I will, because I'll be moving them around literally before I actually got streaming. The last thing I did was manage to wheel this rack under here because it was in the middle. So yes, it was more a quick one. I haven't got a spare switch up here yet. That's the problem. All my switching is downstairs. Yes, well, I've got likes to come up here to focus in. So this is still under construction. I need a little like work sign. That's the plan, is to get this set up better. It's like the cat. You're on a webcam still. Oh yes, it's very much a work in progress. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, I have been rather busy and unfortunately rather ill. So it's just a couple of weeks have knocked me back a bit. But this is the thing. I've got this bit up here now. It's more a case of just slotting things into place. See, that's not fair. I mean, it's just so unfair. It's one of those things now. I don't deal with new servers as much. I only deal with the little baby ones because I don't need to. The most of the systems we operate are cloud hosted, so I don't get to play with them. I'm torn with Lenovo. Very, very torn. Where is it? Is it up here? I don't think I've brought it up yet. Unfortunately, the problem I've had with Lenovo is I've had 3 of their servers basically brick themselves because of a Lenovo update, and I'm very reluctant to use them. Obviously they're older. They were older servers. It was the RD 650s, and it was like the first generation after they'd rebranded after being IBM. So it was and they released a BIOS update that they went, do this, do this, do this, and you did that, and it bricked the motherboard. And I had it happen on multiple servers, and it put me off them. I don't get that problem with Dell. That's the thing. It's why we stick with Dell. If I get a problem with a Dell, I phone Dell up and they come out and do it the next day. But I can't say I've ever had that issue. Is why I've got Dell servers lying around all over the sodding place. Why didn't they go hyper converged? Why did they have a Synology? If you don't mind me asking. It's just one of those things. I mean, I'm waiting. In fact, yeah. I mean, 2-node HA is possible with Windows. Yeah, Starwind. Look up Starwind. I build 2-node. It's something I'll do actually on the channel. I worked for a company for many years who used to buy. I won't say home built servers. They're not. They were Intel servers, but they are basically built servers. Oh, do you have a bad experience? I've got it running at many sites with no issues at all. Enlighten me. What happened? The problem with building your own server is that I know this is a R620. If I need parts for it, I can get them off the shelf. No issues. There's millions of parts for that. If I build a server myself and I have a problem, yeah, at some point we'll organise I'll get a Discord chat going, and we'll actually get people in and have a good conflab. I know Cody is trying to do a gaming thing at some point. Unfortunately, he plays like COD or something silly like that. But yeah, the simple fact is, if you buy a Dell server and you need a part for a Dell server, you can find it. If I buy a Gigabyte server, or I make a server up with something like an ASRock board or an Asus board or something like that, and it goes wrong in 3 years' time, Where am I going to get parts from? Because chances are it's been discontinued. Yeah, I know, but the tabletop's fun. I mean, you wait till we get Gmod back working again, because one of the servers that's got to live up here is running a prop hunt server, and it's carnage. It's just silly fun. I would be playing Battlefield, apart from Battlefield 2042 was shit. EA broke. Oh, there we go. There we go. Back again. Yeah, the game. I'd rather have a group of people taking the piss out of each other on a game than having opponents hurling abuse because they can't understand how they died. It's just one of those things. I, I I mean, yeah, I've been through all that. I've been gaming for God way too long. Um, yeah, I mean, there's not been a really good Battlefield since Battlefield 2, so that's because I'm old. That's the problem. It's finding fun games. That's the whole point. You need games that are fun and absolute carnage in a fun and silly way. That's the whole point of it. So that's why we play silly games. But yeah, I mean the other, just going quickly. Yeah, I mean you could in theory. I think you can do a two node storage sense HA now. Need to have a look at that actually. Need to get some servers up and running and play with some stuff. We could do that. That's just a couple of hours streaming. Failing that, I'll get the NUC cluster up and running because that needs to be rebuilt because people keep asking me to redo it because the audio is shocking. There we go. Right. To save you guys suffering even longer with me dropping in and out, I'm going to wind it up there. But yes, come find me on. Oh yeah, come find me on Discord. Yeah, Packet Lost. Yeah, and yes, I'll have it cabled. Come find me on Discord. Just bang ideas over, bang comments over. Always appreciate it. Other than just cable your sodding setup of stuff that if I say I have so much crap here, hardware wise, that if you want to ask, or yeah, this poor laptop couldn't deal with SFP plus. It's only just about able to deal with USB 3. Yeah, if you can come up with things and suggestions of stuff that you'd like to see, because I approach things from a different angle, such as the camera, because of obviously my focus is business, and what business actually needs, which is why I won't sit there and use like crazy ways of doing stuff. I'll use free ways if they're free, because a lot of the good business products have a community. This is the thing. If a business's product is that good, it should have a community version for people to learn on. One of the big reasons why I like Sophos, but it's also things like Veeam for backing up. Veeam has a community version because they know their product sells itself, but they'd rather you know how to use it. So it's things like that. So I will have the servers hopefully up and running here soon. I've got QNAPs lying. I've got a QNAP lying around that I've got to do a video on. It's an old one, and it's a reason. This is going to sound silly. It's why not to buy that type of NAS, not a QNAP, because we use QNAPs and I quite like QNAPs. But why not to buy that type of NAS? Because it encompasses QNAP, Synology, and a lot of others. Yes. Oh yes. Luck of the draw on the t-shirts. But yeah, I'm trying to hunt down something for measuring and logging power usage that isn't just my UPS. again to try and help that. This is the thing. I, I did 10 years dealing with residentials, and after that I just like, no, please, no more. It's that, yeah, there's reasons why, yes, certain things do work. There's reasons why but there's reasons why we do what we do. It's that sort of thing. It's why, again, if people come to me and it's like, well, what about this? And it's like, there's perfectly good solutions that people come up with. But I look at things from a business angle. Yeah, this is it. As much as like people who sit, I've seen it done. They like, I've seen an entire business backed up using Windows Server backup and PowerShell scripts, and then they wondered why they didn't actually have a good backup system, because the IT company that looked after them was running everything off of PowerShell scripts, and they couldn't prove anything, and the backups never worked. But the problem is you go in and ask a question, how do I back something up? And someone will say, oh, just use a PowerShell script and use Windows backup. And it's like, no. Yes, it works once. So yes, ideas. Just want ideas of stuff that people want to see that might not be being covered by everybody else. There's so many people covering Ubiquity Kit. I will cover it. I will put my angle on it. Normally I'll be quite brutal about it in terms of how I think it should work and how it's not, or if it is. And if people are slating it, normally it's because I'm sat there going, this is a great idea. Exactly. That, I mean, LTT, their failure in their arrays, they took full responsibility. They know it was their own fault because they don't actually have someone dedicated to looking after their network. Would you like part 2? When they do, I need to do a test actually with that, because I know they work with a ringer, but yeah, I need to do the sequel. PoE doorbell, PoE G4 doorbell Pro, the sequel. Yeah, yeah, that was an interesting one. The LTT, again, if they were using, I won't say an off-the-shelf solution, but if they were using a commercially purchased solution, not necessarily an expensive one, but a commercial solution, it would have alerted them. Instead, they weren't. They were using something that they were told was, there was a cobbled together system, and then they were lucky that they had basically Wendell from L1 Techs to put it back together again for them. I don't know what that's cost them in terms of man hours. I mean, data recovery is not cheap, but that must have cost them an absolute arm and a leg for them to have that put back together. And it could have been prevented, and it should have been prevented. The fact that they are still operating with some of the craziness that they do. And yes, they get away with it because, unfortunately, you can. It's how companies manage to get away with spending nothing on their IT infrastructure and function. We go into sites like that. We're doing it at the moment. One of our clients is a job. Reconnect. Yeah, I don't know what's going on because I'm watching my connection. My connection's rock solid. So it's either something to do, believe it or not, it's either something to do with a Unifi Dream wall. Yeah. I mean, smart is a good indicator. It's not always reliable. It's a good indicator. Just quickly to go back actually to the server storage thing. Downstairs I've got two SSDs. They're Samsung 850 or maybe 840. No, I think they're 850 Evos. They were put into a Fujitsu server as part of it's basically a two-node SAN array made up. And at the time that they went in, if you went on to somewhere like Spiceworks or anywhere like that, any of the communities, you had two trains of thought. You had people like myself who were like, rack them full of SSDs. Rack servers full of consumer level SSDs. It won't be an issue. And then you had the people who were like, no, you have to use enterprise grade SSDs. Can't use consumer grade SSDs in a system, in a server, in a SAN. You can't do it. Can't be done. Too dangerous. 8 years. 8 years those SSDs have been in. 2 failed. Finally. 2 have failed after 8 years. So I have them downstairs. I'm going to check. I haven't checked them yet to see what exactly failed or whether they just. But I've got to put them in and read through them. But when they failed, I got an email. Got notified straight away. Disk failure. Replace the disk. Straight onto the customer. You've had an SSD fail in one of your SANs. Get it sorted. Especially considering the data level that they are, they're not heavy data things, but they were running some very large SQL servers. I mean, storage is a really fascinating thing to get into. I have been advocating all flash for 10 years. Ever since SSDs became cost effective, in my opinion, I have advocated all flash. Purely and simply because the time, the performance paid for paid itself. The cost of them paid itself back in the time not lost due to slow spinny disks. Every single server, every single system should be SSD. The only reason you use a spinny disk now would be for slow archival storage in large quantities, or something like a CCTV system, something like that. But I was advocating for using generic, good quality, but just generic SSDs. And every single server and every single SAN array, every single hyperconverged system that I built in the last 10 years running on those is running absolutely perfectly. Purely and simply because they're just well monitored, well maintained. You just don't use ADATA. That's the lesson there. It's not that. It just don't use it. It shocked me actually that Sophos use ADATA. They are like year and a day discs. Yeah, Samsung threw out no issues. Certain Intel ones, Intel did have a flaky period. But yeah, Samsung SSDs. But yeah, the difference now with storage is the push over to, and this is the thing. It's quite an interesting sort of push. It's a push to software defined. I really like VMware vSAN. All Flash vSAN is a phenomenal piece of kit. So if you have a hyperconverged vSAN, VMware cluster with vSAN, and you're leveraging their dedupe, their compression, and combine that with their availability levels, you can get some incredible performance with reliability. Now, it doesn't always work perfectly. I've seen it fail. That's why you have good backups. But that's what is being pushed. But on the flip side, a good solid RAID controller as well. If you don't need the out and out speed, if you want something that's reliable and solid, a hardware RAID controller with a good RAID array underneath it, with the controller doing a lot of the work, done. That's it. You don't get the issues. You don't get the craziness, because if there's a problem, it screams at you. It lets you know there's something not right. You don't get this bit flaky bit in the middle where it's like you've got a software defined array being controlled by software that's not being monitored by anything, and then you end up with data corruption, which is what LTT had. Happily, they've got, I think, 99.9% of their data back, and that's due to the fact that luckily they were using a system that has a degree of resilience in it. Right. Buzz. Right, I'm going to call it there. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for joining in. As I say, look me up, bang me some questions, bang me some ideas if you want, if you've got something, or if you've just again, I'm going to try and focus mostly on certain Sophosy things and stuff like that. I will do the Unifi stuff because it generates views, unfortunately. It's the way of it. But at the same time, I've got gaming servers to fire up, so I will try and do some live streams with us. I'll bring them back on, because I know some people do like to see that stuff. It is what it is. And also, again, being able to get some servers up that people want to see and want to use. So we'll go with that. But again, thank you ever so much, guys, for joining me on this random rant and this thing. And yeah, say we'll organise something soon, and I'll get it so that we can at least chat. I mean, that would be the good one, is to get a live stream with a few people nattering away. Might have to start up something like that. What do you think on that one, Jace? Right. Until next time, I will catch you all soon. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you again.